In this tutorial I'm going to go over the 3D primitives. These objects are basically for starting off making an object. Let's say I want to make a body of a car. I might want to start off with a cube. Or if I want to do any box modeling, I would do a cube. See, if I want to do a head or something, well, head's kind of round, I might want to use a sphere. These can be dragged off the palette by clicking this and dragging your mouse off the palette. A little icon will come up. I'm going to use the grid as a center point, the white one here. Then I'm going to let go. As you can see, it kind of popped to the left there, and I wanted it in the center of the grid. Kind of popped where my cursor stopped at right there. I was kind of wanting it right about there. So I'll delete this one, and we'll do that one more time. But this time, when I bring it down here, I'm going to line it where I thought I wanted it, about right here. And I'm going to hold the Control key down, or the CTRL key on the keyboard. And when I do, you can see where my pointer's at. I need to place my pointer where I want to drop it. I'm going to point the pointer to the center. If I let go of it, the Control key, you can see the icon kind of move to the side there, but let's push it back down. And this is where I want the cube to fall at. So I'll let go, and that's exactly where I wanted it at. Each one of these options have parameters. And if we got the tessellation here over here, if I wanted to add more faces and edges, over on the numeric pad or numpad on the very far right of your keyboard, you can press the plus key to add. You can use the minus key, subtract. You can go up by one by clicking these little icons for up and down. Or you can just hold one of the icons and move your mouse up or move it back down. This adjusts it. You can type in the value, or you can click in the box here and use your scroll wheel for up and down. Thing not to do is make sure your mouse pointer is in the box. If you move it outside the box and use your scroll wheel, it'll try scrolling the palette. So make sure it's in the box here. Okay, now as I said, each one of these has parameters to it, but the drag and drop has what would you call that? Doesn't have all the parameters that you would if you was just to click it and drag it. So I'll just show you a little demonstration. So I'll select the cube here, and this time instead of drop and drag, I'll just click it. As you can see, I got a new parameter over here. I can select this here. As you can see, what that does, it drops it on above the where I tried dropping that right here at the center point, or I can do it at the center point here, and I'll drop it right there. And when I click one time, if you scroll this panel down, and we still also have the where we can add faces and edges. Now let's go over to the sphere here. I'll select here, and I'll click somewhere in the center here. As you can see, I got the parameter here. Now the center where I clicked was the center of the grid here, which is actually the center of the sphere here. Of course, I can switch it here, which goes above the center point of the grid or below it, wherever I prefer to drop it, or up here or down here. If I want to match the center of the grid to the center of the sphere, I'll use that option. Can also switch these options over here, but I'll stick with this here. And when you click one time on the you'll get another option. So if you double click, that validates, and you'll never get these options. So just single click, and you can see I got a plus and minus icon up here. This is the same thing by using the numeric pad or the numpad to add or more faces or edges, or considered points. We'll delete that object and we'll select the sphere here, and I'll select out here, and when I bring it out I can actually tap the space bar and move my cursor in and out, tap the space bar again, move it up and down, tap it again to make it uniform scale, and we'll recap that by tapping the space bar again so you can see better, and tap it again and double click to validate. We'll go ahead and delete this object, and I'm going to go face forward, and I'm using the hotkeys to do that, and we'll go ahead and use the face it tool or faucet tool, and we'll select here. This is the first point. Now if I want to make it go straight over, and this is freehanding right here, if you can see it's moving all around, I'll tap the space bar one time. As you can see, it's going sideways. If I move my cursor up and down, it don't go anywhere but sideways. So I'll click a point here, tap the space bar, and tap it again, and I will double click to validate it. I have three points that made up a face here. As you can see, I'm still in this mode here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the shift key down, and what happens is if I get close enough to a point, it'll snap to it with a white crosshair. So I'll select here. I want to go straight across, so I'll tap the space bar, and I need to tap it 2 times to make it what I call free floating. When I get close enough to it, I just hold the shift key down and snap to it and double click, and I'll do one more, so I'll just snap to this one here, tap the space bar, tap it twice to free float it, hold the shift key, double click, and we'll just validate it. You can also turn it and add to the side or whatever you want to do. Now if I was to add another one here, say I click here, click here, as you can see, it added on to it. I had paused the video, and we're going to go ahead and just go to the next option, the grid here. Select the grid here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click one time, then it's going to let me adjust the size of the face here, which is going to be part of my grid. I can make it long, I can make it wide. Say I want to make it kind of square, but kind of small. So I'll click it one time here, and once I clicked it, left mouse click, now I can move it to the left and move it up, and it adds more grids. Or I can switch it to the other side and move it down. Just single click to validate it. Now I'll just delete that one and show you a different grid if I wanted to make it, let's say, kind of wide here. Click it once, and that's how it makes that grid. Next, we're going to go over the cylinder. Well, select the cylinder here and drag how wide we want it, and left mouse click how tall we want it, and click one time. Now over on the options here, we have got the parameters again. We can adjust this. Now this here will close the holes on the top. These are where the white markers are indicating there's a hole. We don't want if we don't want to close all of them, we'll just select with our mouse up here and just select one and click it. That'll cap it, and we'll just validate it. And you'll see we have the top that's closed, the bottom is open. We're going to go over the cone here. We'll select here. We'll drag it out how wide we want it, and we'll drag it up. I'll go over in the radius here and drag in here, and I'll use my scroll wheel on my mouse to adjust the top of it. Then I'll come down here and press apply. The white indicates that is an open hole. Like I said, we can click it. The red indicates that it is closed. If I made a mistake and I didn't want to close it, I can just click it again. If I want to close all, I'll just close this one here. We're going to skip the rest of these and jump on down to the text here, text 3D, because you pretty much got the basic hint on the rest of these 3D. So objects, so these here will be easy to figure out. Let's just jump down to the 3D text, and I'll click it. And where I want to start it at is, let's say, right here. I click one time and it brings up a box. And you can just type in a letter here. And you can adjust the size and all the parameters here. And it's not good to tessellation over too high, so I'm going to keep it pretty low. And you can adjust what kind of font that you want to put in here. And this font here is the one that I installed in my C Windows font folder. As long as it's a true type font, this will work in Hexagon. We'll validate that. We'll scale it up so you can see a little bit. More of a scary kind of font there. Choose any font that you want. Each object is recorded at the last position. Let me give you a little demonstration here. If I was to drag this spear here and drop it here, and let's say I wanted to start another object, let's go ahead and delete this one for example here. And if I select a cube here, this is the area where the spear was dropped last. You can see where the green line and the red line meets. For example, if I was just to drop another one over here, bring it out and delete it, and select another object, it's going to come over here. This shows the zero coordinates of where it was last fixed at. Now if we wanted to get to 0, 0 real world here, we can hold the shift key down, and if you notice in the center of the grid in the bottom here where the two white grids are at, that is the center point. We'll hold the shift key down, it'll snap to it. I don't know if you can see in the video, but I just hold the shift key and it'll snap to it, and just click and drag out. As you can see, my position is 0, 0, 0 over here. So if I delete this and select another object, automatically at 0, 0, 0. Okay, let's say I click back over here again. Another way you can do this, I'll show you. I'll delete this one again since I made a mark over here, and now it made that same position. So I'll just go ahead and abort this one here. As what I can do is I turn on the camera here one time, then turn it back to XYZ, and when I select the object, it's back to 0, 0, 0 here. Just to be on the safe side, I'll hit the shift key. As you can see, now we are in the center of the view here.